I'd like to call the Newman City Council regular meeting of June 27, 2000 to order. This time, if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, God, for bringing us here safely tonight. Please give us the guidance and the wisdom to make the right decisions for our community. And this we pray. Amen.
Amen.
May we have a roll call, please?
Present.
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 Present. Item number 5, these are communications from the staff. Are there any tonight?
I have one from Police Chief Brady. He just wanted to notify council that he's approved a street closure for a block party on Saturday, July 8th. It's going to be by Red Teal and Green Teal at Pointer Way.
Okay. Anything else?
Are we invited? That's for my neighborhood.
Item 6, these are items. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I just wanted to share with you some information of the 1999 Consumer Confidence Report. This report replaces the annual water quality report that we've done in the past years. This is required by the EPA and Department of Health Services. And basically what I wanted to point out was the information that's required is you got to let the public know where the wells are, where they're located, your water sources, water samples, your sources of drinking water. Talk to them a little bit about the contaminants that could be in the water, and those could be anything from inorganic pesticides, organic, chemical, radioactive contaminants, and you also have to provide them with a safe drinking water hotline where they can call if they're concerned about the water. In the following page, inside page, I've listed in here a partial list of some of the tests that we took last year. As you can see, the bacteria coliform tests, the MCL maximum contaminant level is 5% of the tests, and we're at 0. The iron manganese nitrate, non-detected, the nitrates were from 7 to 18 milligrams per liter, so they're well within the MCLs. I've also charted out the gallons of water used per year since 1978, and as you can see, we've about tripled that amount since then. And then the next page is in Espanol, has to do with tips for conserving the water. And finally, on the last page, we also have to let them know how City of Newman protects and maintains the quality of our water, and that has to do with our monitoring our wellheads and enforcing our backflow prevention cross connection program. And we also have to let them know that who to contact, which is myself, and what numbers, and also to let them know that the City Council meets on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, where they can come and bring their concerns if they have any.
Great. Are there any questions for Ernie?
No, it's a nice
Very
folder
nice.
there, Ernie. Very good.
Thank you.
Ernie, just
Very
one
nice.
quick question. How would we compare to other surrounding towns in this area as far as these levels of...
We're actually doing very well. Some of the other cities, their nitrate levels have been higher to the point whereas they had to list and explain the adverse health problems that they may encounter because of the higher concentrations of the contaminants or the minerals or the volatile organic compounds, such as some of them have had methyl tert butyl ether, the MTBE, that everybody's concerned with, especially up at Modesto Reservoir. None detected around here, so we're in really good shape.
Great. Thank you very much, Ernie.
Ernie, we're not adding chlorine at the present time, are we? Or
There's a slight amount of sodium hypochlorite solution that we do add to the water. However, we keep it at a very minimal amount, anywhere from, it's less than a half a part per million. So it's very little. Some people who are very sensitive to the chlorine do detect it, but others don't. I don't. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie.
Thanks.
Any other staff communications tonight? Okay. Item 6, these are items from the public. These are non-agenda items. While the City Council welcomes and encourages participation in the meetings, it would be appreciated if you would limit your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. Matters under the jurisdiction of the Council and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public at this time. However, California law prohibits the Council from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the City Council. Are there any non-agenda items tonight? Okay. Can
I talk from here? What?
No, you have to come up, give your name and address for the record.
My name is Norman Lopez. My address is 1525 S Street here in Newman. On March the 11th, I got a paper from the city that said that I have to disconnect my sewer line where it is at the well, in fact, right now it's in the same place. But I am landlocked. I have no access to an alley. In 1995, I had a little trouble with my sewer line, which went across the west end of my property. So I talked to the neighbor, which was Mr. Sapina, and he gave us permission to put my line through his property. And at the time I had it done, there was a couple city guys that had gone by and looked. I'm not going to mention name because it doesn't do any good. But anyhow, he gave me permission in front of, I have 2 witnesses, that line was all right to be put there. Well, this first part of this year, he come over and he says, I want it out. I don't want that line in there. I checked with the real estate, and I'm thinking about retiring about a year and a half, and that easement through the, which is not an easement, but that sewer line through the back of my property will lower the price on my house. Now, if it does or not, I don't know. It possibly could, I guess, if there was some way he could build on the back, but it's on the back 5 foot of the property. So he can't build nothing on it anyway. But anyhow, so I decided to go back to Kirkendall's. Kirkendall says, I have no easement through there now. I went over to Modesto, to half a dozen places, including the Hall of Records and everything else. And they said I have a prescriptive agreement. My sewer line and water line has been through that property for 47 years. And on their deed, it states that if an easement or a right-of-way is necessary, they will allow it. But it's never been recorded that way. Now, when the city hooked into my line, my sewer and water line, in 1953, they must have known something. There should have been some kind of agreement with somebody, or the city should have checked into it or had to inspect it or something. But evidently they don't, because the only record they have at the city hall over here is from 1984. So right now, Mr. Sapina says I can leave my line through his property if I post $5,000 bond. Well, if I had to, I would, but he still doesn't give me the easement. It's just posting the bond. If he sells that property for $70,000 and he thinks it's worth $75,000, he keeps my $5,000. Now the Kirkendall says, oh, no trouble, you can go through this any time. Now they got a hold of their son-in-law, which is a lawyer, and he says, I want $1,000 posted in my account. I want, and the only bad part in that line, because I had Dave, the drain guy, check it with that camera. And there's only place, there's a 5-foot strip behind their gazebo that's blocked. And I think it was from the weight when they put the gazebo and the cement and stuff on top, and I think it collapsed because it's Orangeburg. Anyhow, now they want $1,000 and they want me to run a new line through there and inspect the water line. Now, I don't think it's fair. I told them I'm willing to tear up that 5 foot and put the back together with new pipe or whatever it takes. But they said now they want a whole new line. So I've been to the office down here. I've been to the city hall. I've got a lawyer. He got papers here that says that I can do it. But their lawyer says I can't do it. So I went over here and I got all the papers and I gave them to Jim. I gave them to Kelly, but Jim, I guess, is taking over in Kelly's place now. Anyhow, I gave them to Jim and he went up and said that the city lawyer was going to look at them. Well, I've never got any response from the city lawyer at all.
Okay.
They said they can't do nothing because it's a civil matter. But if it's a civil matter, why was that inspected when it was put through that property to start with?
What we can do is, and I suspect our Public Works Department in the past has maybe looked at it, but I suspect that hopefully we could get this thing resolved. That
This has been going on since March the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
I've put out $1,200 already because I put $714 through that other property to put a sewer line in there. It's a 6-inch line, brand new. And I can't see, and then the city told me I could hook into that same line 7 foot up, but the law says you can only have one property on a sewer line, but they still said I can hook into that same line 7 foot ahead of his. Now that's, don't quite jive either, so I don't know.
Could we, if there are no other questions, or are there any questions, what I would suggest is have our Public Works Department along with our city manager take a look at this.
They were over there.
Well,
I've had half the people in Newman over there already. Everybody seems to be passing the buck to somebody else. And I'm landlocked. What am I supposed to do? One wants $5,000 without giving me an easement. The other one giving me an easement if I give them $1,000 and tear up the... She don't want the 5 foot tore up behind her gazebo, but she wants me to go clear through the 75 foot of property and put a new line. Now that don't even make sense.
well, since it sounds to me like you say everybody and their brother's been over there, and unfortunately we don't have the luxury of having all the information in front of us. What I
well,
would
I gave all the paperwork I had. I've already given it to the city manager.
And what I would recommend then is, if the council would not object, is having the city manager forward something to us with all the documentation, because it's difficult for us, to answer questions back and forth with you.
No, I agree.
If we don't have any of the information in front of us.
What I can't understand, I gave him a copy of every letter I got and every correspondence I got with anybody, and I gave them a copy at the city hall. And he was going to get a hold of the lawyer, and to this time he has not called me back, or I've heard nothing.
And what we could do is, and Margaret's the acting city manager at this point, what we can do is we could have Margaret get back with Cleve and have them put together a staff report for us with all the information that's available, that you have, that everybody else seems to have. That way we come back again, that way we have all the information in front of us.
No, that's fine. I just like to get something done. I'm about going crazy with that. I tell you, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Could we have something by next meeting?
I'm going to say we should have that by the July.
I don't want to take them to
We can
court
do that.
because I gain nothing.
Well, right,
All I
well-
cause is enemies.
What we'll do is our next meeting's on July 11th. By that time, they'll have a staff report ready for us. Bring back all the documentation, all the copies that you have. That way, at least, if we're sitting here, at least we can ask some educated questions with the
that's
information
fine.
in front of us. But why don't we schedule that for the 11th? We'll send you a notice letting you know that you're going to be on the agenda. And
Okay,
in the
that's
meantime,
fine.
we could resolve this thing.
That's all I can ask for.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
And like I said, we'll send the notice out to you. That way you know to be here on the 11th. All right?
Fine, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other non-agenda items at this time? Okay, seeing none. Items from the public. These are agenda items. Any member of the audience desiring to address the council on a matter on the agenda, please raise your hand or step to the podium at the time the item is announced by the mayor. In order that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak, any person addressing the council will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless the mayor and the council grants a longer period of time. Item number 7. These are public hearings. There are none tonight. Item 8, this is a consent calendar. 8A is approval of warrants. 8B is approval of minutes of the June 13, 2000 regular meeting. Item 8C, approval of the renewal of an agreement for services with Self-Help Enterprises for collection of community development block grant loan repayments. C, approve an agreement with Fieldman, Roll-Up, and Associates to update the city's capital facilities fees at a cost of $25,000. Are there any questions on the consent calendar? Seeing none, can we have some direction on that?
I move that we approve the consent calendar A through D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0 with 1 absent. Item 9, this is regular business. This is a certification of the Williamson Act cancellation fee. Bob?
As you recall, we succeeded to a 21-acre piece of Williamson Act land as part of the Sherman Ranch project. We couldn't cancel that project as a matter of course because it wasn't the city's protest of its going into the contract was not upheld. So this means that we own a piece of property, or we have jurisdiction over a piece of property under Williamson Act. The applicant is the property owner wishes to cancel the contract. In accordance with the law, we're supposed to get an assessment of what that property is worth. We had previously adopted policies and procedures for administering Williamson Act contract land. We have contacted the county assessor, got an estimate of what the value, and based on that value, the penalties for cancellation of the contract, which is 12.5% of the contract or the assessed value, is what we have to certify to the county auditor with respect to the cancellation fee, and that's in the amount of $51,875. So what I'm requesting council is certification to the auditor of that amount of money is a cancellation of the fee in accordance with government code. I know this is a complicated process, and for a fairly small, minor piece of property, it kind of the issue here is that this is part of the site for a park that is part of the Sherman Ranch project. It's also the area where we're going to be using as a stormwater detention basin. So it's in the community's interest to move this project along. We have done a lot of research on this. Canceling Williamson Act contracts are not an easy matter. This is an island of Williamson Act land. It used to be part of a large Williamson Act piece. All of the Williamson Act property within golf ball range by Ernie's shot has been canceled, and so this is a little 21-acre island of Williamson Act land, and it doesn't meet the requirements of the law now with respect to Land Conservation Act and ag preserves. So it's logical and in the public interest to cancel it, and that's what we're proceeding with. So the action that I'm asking the council is to certify to the county auditor the cancellation fee for Williamson Act contract 762227 on APN 494117 in the amount of $51,875 at 12% of the property's value.
Are there any questions for Bob?
Just to clarify for people in the audience and watching TV, hopefully, this fee will be paid by the property owner. The fee is paid by the property owner and goes to the state of California.
Okay. The property owner has agreed to do this.
If they want to cancel the property, they have to assume all the
That's a condition.
responsibilities. Yes,
That's a
and
condition.
and they know what the fee is, and they know what their responsibilities are.
All right. Any other questions? No? Okay, can we have some direction on this?
Make a motion, we certify the Williamson Act cancellation fee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0 with 1 absent. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for your patience.
Okay. Item 9B, this is to adopt resolution number 2000 next to number authorizing staff to call for bids for the Inyo Avenue project contingent on authorization from Caltrans. Who's going to speak to this?
Richard.
Richard?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Back in December of '99, staff received authorization to proceed with plans for the reconstruction of Inyo Avenue from the east city limits line westerly to Highway 33. Subsequently, staff has prepared plans and specs, and we've shipped those up to Caltrans earlier this month with the understanding that Caltrans was going to give us approval within 3 to 4 weeks after submitting plans to them and authorization to proceed with construction. With that authorization for construction, we could then, staff could then authorize the call for bids. Unfortunately, Caltrans is just taking a little bit longer. They received just a whole slew of plans earlier in the month, so they've been backed up. I did get a call earlier this week from Caltrans, and they assured me that both this project and the streetscape project were online to get authorization any day now. So we expect the facts from them hopefully tomorrow, maybe later this week. So short of that, we are asking that the City Council go ahead and authorize staff to call for bids contingent upon Caltrans giving us authorization for construction.
All right.
So if you have any questions.
Are there any questions for Richard? On this starting date here, we're looking at early September. What type of construction are we looking at, time frame?
We're looking at 60 to 90 days, somewhere in that range. No longer than 90 days, certainly.
Okay.
Closer to 60.
All right. Are there any questions? If not, can we have some direction on this item, please?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2000, next number, authorizing staff to call for bids for the Inyo Avenue improvement project contingent on authorization from Caltrans.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0 with 1 absent. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Item 9C, this appointment of voting delegate for our league conference. Margaret?
Okay. You have a memo from Cleve, our city manager, who, by the way, is at the Disneyland on vacation with his family this week, asking that the city designate a voting delegate and an alternate to the league meeting that's going to be held, I believe, in September. And so this is council's opportunity to designate who you wish your voting delegates to be.
Who do we have so far that's going? I'm not sure if I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be able to go. And who were the voting delegates last year?
I was the voting delegate.
Okay, and who was our alternate? Was it?
Well, I think you were there.
Oh, I was the. I might have been the
You
alternate.
hadn't planned to attend, Charles, and
Right.
then you showed up, and so you were the only one that would have been the alternate.
Okay. Okay. Dave, were you?
Yeah, I wasn't there last year, no. I'm
Were you-
going this year.
You're going this year, Tom. You're going, Bob. Are there any preference? Did anybody?
No, I figured
Well,
that since he did it last year, he can do it
no,
this
Bob-
year.
Well, Bob has seniority.
I think Dave would be excellent, and we could have Tom as the alternate.
Okay, if there are no objections to that.
That's my motion. Then.
Okay. Councilmember Martinez's motion is to appoint Councilmember Reed as our voting member and Councilmember Applegate as our alternate. And Councilmember Martinez made a motion. Can we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Item 10. These are items from the city manager. Margaret?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Items from the council. Councilmember Martina?
Nothing at this time. But
Okay.
I'm just waiting for those bids to come in so we can start downtown.
Mhm.
We're all getting all excited. That's all I have.
Councilmember Applegate?
Nothing tonight.
Councilmember Reed?
Just to remind anyone that might be interested, there's a chamber mixer Thursday at Stevens Borelli at 6 o'clock. this isn't just for chamber members. It's for anyone that would like to come. There's a lot of good food and drink and meet a lot of nice people. It's $3 for members, $5 for non-members.
All right. And I have nothing this evening, so if we could have, I'd like to call for an adjournment.
I still move for adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Record time.
All right.